morning, Nigeria, and a warm welcome to another bright edition of the program, The Press. I am Princess Ekeze Okoli welcoming you, and as always, it is a pleasure to have you join me as we unpack the headline stories shaping Nigeria today, being Wednesday, the 29th day of October 2025. I hope you do have a well-rested night. Well, grab a cup of tea or coffee, whatever suits you, and settle down. And as I, of course, lead you through the top headlines shaping Nigeria today, from politics to economy to insecurity or security as they come. Well, as always, we begin with weather update. I'll tell you what the weather is going to be like as of today, Wednesday. So when you do go out today, you go about your business, making sure that you're prepared for what the weather looks like. Well, it's been a bit hot this past days. I don't know about you, but I am not a friend of the hot season. I don't do well with it. But yes, it's been quite hot this past day. So I guess whatever you decide to wear, make sure you wear something airy. All right, let's go to what the weather update is like today. Let's start with the northeast in the city of Maiduguri of Borno State. Of course, we have a temperature of about 21 degrees Celsius, which is mostly sunny, with a high of 36 degrees and a low of 19 degrees Celsius. Now, sunny conditions will continue all day with wind gusts up to 10 kilometers per hour. All right, away from the northeast, let's move over down to the north central. In the city of Jos in Plateau State, we have a temperature of about 20 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, with a high of 30 and a low of 18 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 8 today, with wind gusts up to 12 kilometers per hour. Still in the northern region is the city of Kano. We have the Kano municipal of having about 20 degrees Celsius. It's also mostly cloudy with a high of 34 and a low of 19 degrees Celsius. Sunny conditions are expected around 11 today, with wind gusts up to 7 kilometers per hour. All right, before I take you away from the north, let's look at Kaduna. Kaduna is boasting of 21 degrees Celsius. Is also mostly cloudy with a high of 32 degrees and a low of 20 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy conditions are expected around 10, with wind gusts up to 8 kilometers per hour. With that, I take you to the southern part of the country. Let's look at the south region. We begin with Port Harcourt, the capital city of Rivers State, which is about 24 degrees Celsius. Is mostly cloudy with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions are expected around 9 today, which means right about now, with wind gusts up to 4 kilometers per hour. Still in the south is the city of Benin. Benin city of Edo State is boasting as well of 24 degrees Celsius. Is also cloudy with a high of 29 degrees and a low of 24 degrees Celsius. Now, rainy conditions are also expected around 1700 hours today, with wind gusts up to 5 kilometers per hour. And with that, we move to the southeast in the city of Enugu State. We are having about 23 degrees Celsius. With a cloudy conditions, high of 29 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions are expected around 1600 hours, with wind gusts up to 11 kilometers per hour. We equally have the city of Imo, of Imo State rather. We have 23 degrees Celsius. Weather conditions is also cloudy with a high of 29 degrees and a low of not 23 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions are expected around 11 this morning, with wind gusts up to 5 kilometers per hour. All right, and that takes us to the southwest. Let's look at the city of Lagos. Lagos is boasting of 25 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 29 degrees and a low of 25 degrees Celsius. Rainy conditions are expected around 8 today, with wind gusts up to 11 kilometers per hour. And also in the southwest, we have the city, we have Ondo. We have Ondo State with temperature about 23 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy with a high of 29 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Cloudy conditions will continue all day, with wind gusts up to 9 kilometers per hour. And lastly, weather update, we bring you back home here in the city, the nation's capital, the city of Abuja. We're having about 23 degrees Celsius. It's mostly going to be cloudy with a high of 32 degrees and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Now, partly cloudy conditions are expected around 11 this morning with wind gusts up to 7 kilometers per hour. All right, with that, we end the weather update today. You can see from the weather is going to be quite hot today. I think in all parts of the country, except that some parts will get rain later in the day, which will of course cool off the hot weather. All right, with that, let me bring you what the headlines are saying this morning. Let's look at the news headlines. All right, I will be starting with the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, and the top headline there says, enrollees stranded as NHIA server failure drags into weeks. Visa cancellation, why I snub US Embassy's summon, Soyinka. First Bank vindicated, arbitration tribunal dismisses GHL's $718 million claim. All right, that's on the Punch. If you want to read further, you pick up the paper. It's actually on every newspaper this morning, that particular story. Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. You'll find our story on page 2. And one of the writers says, Kefas, Mufwang, political realignment looms. Fintiri holds ground. Planned defection unsettles. Unsettled states, APC leaders. All right, that's that on the defection story there. We also have other stories on the Punch. Coup controversy. Military interrogates MD. Raids as governor's house. You'll find it on page 2 as well. Senate set to grill new service chiefs today. Page 3 on that story. Abdulrazak received 23 kidnapped victims rescued by military. Vote buying want to decide Anambra election. Amopitan on that. Hidden assets. Court rules Abakari has case to answer. States earn over 4 trillion naira yearly from VAT reforms. All right, those are the stories you'll find on the Punch newspaper today. All right, with that, I bring you the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper also have the same stories about the First Bank being vindicated. Arbitration tribunal dismisses DHL's $718 million claim. Now, the tribunal's order for GHL to pay First Bank's arbitration costs within 30 days underscores the bank's strong position in the dispute and paves the way for further action to recover about $230 million owed to the bank. All right, other stories. Sanusi to federal government borrowing after subsidy removal. Wrong. All right. We also have other stories. $1 billion debt. Banks take over Nest Oil. 8 years after threatening to tear green card, U.S. revoked Soyinka's visa. Senate to screen service chiefs today. Port Harcourt refinery shut down. How Nigeria lost 366.2 billion naira in months. All right, these are the stories you find on the Daily Trust today. Let's go to the next newspaper, and that's Vanguard. Don't just reform, cut wastes. Sanusi, Peterside tell federal government. All right, some of the writers you find on that story say challenge leaders on accountability, economic discipline, if reforms must work. Why do we need 48 ministers, long convoys, endless travels? Sanusi, benefits of subsidy removal can only be realized through proper governance. Peterside, Tinubu's reforms already yielding results. Edun, OT calls for leadership discipline, human capital investment to unlock Africa's prosperity. These are the writers to that particular headline news, and you find that on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Enugu emerges likeliest state to survive without FAC allocations. Lagos government Oworoshoki residents differ over demolitions. Senate's NSITF takeover declaration of war on workers, NLC. And the writer said threatens directive halting workers fund deductions, remittances. We've received threat from terrorists to bomb National Assembly. Reps raise alarm. I've been banned from U.S. Soyinka. Reps to probe NFF over $25 million FIFA grants. And the top headlines in the Vanguard, still on the First Bank story. First Bank vindicated arbitration tribunal dismisses EHL's $718 million claim. All right, those are the stories you find on Vanguard today. All right, let's move to leadership. The Leadership newspaper. Lagos, Edo top debt per capita list as states' liabilities hit 10.57 trillion naira budget. Revocation of Soyinka's U.S. visa sparks mixed reactions. Government mulls minimum capital threshold for power distributors license renewal. Reps approve $25 million FIFA CAF grants to NFF. Wiki unveils Abuja's 5-pillar smart city plan at Dubai summit. And that, of course, you're going to see a photo of him and some of the committees there. Developing Nigeria's livestock industry, our priority, Minister. Concerns as court orders takeover of Nest Oil over $1 billion debt. Hardship, Makinde faults Yilwada's blanket criticism of governors. All right, these are the stories you'll find on Leadership today. All right, let's move over to the Independent newspaper. Nigeria's state debt climbs 6.8% to 10.57 trillion naira. Budget finds. Anambra emerges most fiscally sustainable state in 2025. Enugu likely a state to survive independent of FAC allocations. All right. Okay, other stories to find on the Independent newspaper today. Don't allow Nigeria's democracy die in your hands, Tinubu urged. Reps move to probe NFF over misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. Federal government targets 2 million meters annually with 700 billion naira funding. NSA vows tough actions against violence in Anambra poll. Dangote Cement reports 165% surge in earnings per share. Reforms focus on easing hardship for ordinary citizens. Edu. And some of the writer says Nigeria needs long-term capital infrastructure investment. OTE. Sanusi blames decades of inaction on fuel subsidy for hardship. And the final headline I have here says Reps panel moves to impose green tax on plastic producers. All right, with that, I bring you the Nation newspaper. All right, the Nation newspaper. Federal government reports modernization policy all-inclusive, says Oyetola Edun. Benefits of reforms gradually reaching the poor. Small businesses, infrastructure need financing, says Aruma Ote. Revocation of my U.S. visa won't deter me, says Soyinka. Christopher Kolade lived and ended well, says Bishop. All right, these are the stories you will find on the Nation today. If you want to read further, pick up the newspaper today. All right, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune. Reps probe NFF over alleged misuse of FIFA CAF grants. Burning KV Stadium in focus. We received threats from terrorists to bomb National Assembly Reps Committee Chairman. All right, Anambra election. Violence will be met with strong, uncompromising response. NSA. Police to deploy 45,000 officers. Amopitan justifies extension of collection of PVCs. You find that on page 3. Growing concern over CBN's bid to control Nigeria's fixed income market. Scientists turn flower fragrance into mosquito killer. And U.S. revokes Soyinka's visa. All right, those are the stories you find on the Nigerian Tribune. Let's look at the blueprint. 170 foreign nationals apply to become Nigerian citizens. Minister. All right, also have the story of First Bank. I won't want to read it again. Dangote eyes $1 billion industrial expansion in Zimbabwe. WAFCON, Super Eagles, Super Falcons, I beg your pardon, Pips Benin, 3-1 aggregate, seal qualification. Anambra Guber, INEC, security agencies plot against election riggers, vote bias. All right, bar vigilantes, non-state actors, police to deploy 45,000 operatives. INEC readies 24,000 personnel. Rising foreign reserves signal Nigeria's recovery path. Report. Delay in fuel subsidy removal cause of current hardship. Emir Sanusi. Reform gains already touching the poor. Vulnerable Edun on that. Why my US visa was revoked. Shoyinka. NOA harps on staff's growth. Welfare. Reps probe NFF over $25 million FIFA CAF grants. And tax clarity, investor confidence depend on judiciary insight. FIRS boss. Okay, those are the stories you find on the blueprint today. Okay, let's look at Liberty. A voice of Liberty. Tinubu appoints Bernard Doro as new minister. Tinubu Rise Senate seeks confirmation of new service chiefs. Senator Natasha has a case to answer. AGF. House of Reps raise alarm over terrorist threat to bomb National Assembly complex. All right, so it says the chairman of the House of Reps Committee on Internal Security, Garba Mohammed, yesterday disclosed that the National Assembly has received threats from terrorists to bomb the complex. All right, well, other stories you find on Liberty says Trump's government bans Wole Soyinka from entering U.S. Federal government set to expand cash transfer beyond 15 million households. Bandits pay us 150,000 monthly as spies. Amotekun. Alleged coup plot. Soldiers raid ex-minister Silva's Abuja's home as he reportedly flees Nigeria. All right, those are the stories on Liberty. Let's look at the Daily Monitor, which will actually be the last papers I'll be taking. The paper I will take in today. Let's see. That's if I'm not leaving anyone behind. The Daily Monitor says we have our federal government secures 700 billion naira to deploy 1.1 millimeters. Minister, indigenous contractors threaten protests over unpaid 2024 projects. Dangote Cement reports a 165% surge in EPS, reinforces market leadership across Africa. Senate to confirm service chiefs today. MAN projects stronger naira, lower inflation, 4% GDP growth in 2026. Hinges outlook on favorable oil prices, rising foreign investment, stable energy costs, others. All right, we have 28 states relied on FAC allocation for 55% of revenue in 2024. That's budget. All right, okay. All right, and the top story says no promotion scandal in Nigeria police force, IGP. Okay, I think those are the stories. I hope I'm not missing anyone at all. I think that's all I have for you today on the headline news today being Wednesday. As always, I'm going to take quite a short breather. Hopefully my guests join me on the program to discuss on some of the biggest headlines making the waves today. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the press here on Kaftan Television. We're reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. If you're just joining, you've missed quite a bit because you've missed the weather update and, of course, the news headline news I read out to you earlier. But you're still good with us because you get to listen to the analysis of some of the biggest headlines that made the papers today. So I've been joined in the studio by Ambassador Moses Kolawole. He's a public analyst. It's a pleasure to have you join me this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Kolawole Obisheson.
Obisheson.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. I think we should start up with something I would say to me the most alarming headline, which is of course the threat that has been made on the National Assembly concerning a bombing. It's been said, I think it's the committee chairman says that they received terrorist threat to bomb the National Assembly. When I saw that story, I was like, what is this? And then aside from the fact that that story is making the waves, a lot of Nigerians are reacting to it differently. I don't know if you've heard some of the reactions where some person will say that is a cover-up, that is, there's no truth in that. There is a cover-up, and that it is meant to sort of mask the protests concerning the genocide and Christians and all that. I've heard talks on that. But then let's talk about the threat itself to the National Assembly. I think it's an insult actually for terrorists to actually have the should I say the temerity to threaten to bomb the National Assembly, which is like the third seat of power in Nigeria. What do you think should be the reaction of the president and of course the security officials?
Okay, thank you very much. For me, really, I want to say that we need our security, our media managers to manage some information a lot better. I will tell you that what they want to get is the publicity you've given the terrorists. We must manage how we communicate so that it does not throw up fears. In fact, maybe I would even want to say the Office of the National Security Advisor should educate and give orientation to the National Assembly members. You get a threat stuff like that. It's not to go to the papers or to go to the media that solves it. You just say, hey, look, I got this. How do we deal with it? In fact, not even saying it at all, it is a stronger point.
Exactly.
But work seriously behind it. It's not to dismiss that it doesn't exist, but to work seriously on it and not throw it on the media. Throwing it on media, what do you want? Is it sympathy? Is it what? National Assembly remains, whether you like it, it's still a soft target. As far as terrorists, the wish of the terrorists to be able to bomb National Assembly has forever existed. Don't doubt it. Any serious place, any major place like National Assembly will be a huge goal for them to hit. You understand what I'm saying? So but I'm saying that I want to see more understanding on our political figures, on elites generally. If somebody, for instance, if I get a threat message, for me, maybe in my local residence and all that, I have to tell the DPO that look at this text message I've got. I have to maybe escalate it if I think maybe it should be taken higher than that, maybe the commissioner of police or whatever. But it's not for me to gather the entire village and now tell them I've gotten a threat message that somebody is coming to hit me in my house. That is what they want. They want to create panic. So they've succeeded in the 50% succeeded by saying that we will create panic in Nigeria, where we're going to say we're going to actually hit the National Assembly and all of that. And you don't want that to linger. You don't even want that to come to whatever. So I want to tell our elite, you must understand how to manage information. Don't glorify their threats. Don't amplify it. Don't even give them media mileage. Keep it, but work very seriously on it. Somebody has sent me this text, Papa, can we actually trace this number?
Exactly.
Do incredible job on it, but keep a still face. Don't even do as if you're even working. Don't even say as if you saw the text message. But you are working seriously on it. They will pick the person, you understand? That is what U.S. government, look, they weren't shouting about picking Osama bin Laden. They just realized that, okay, this guy is hiding somewhere. They went to check over 1 million calls to be able to track where is this guy. Every call that was linking each other, they were working like their life depended on it for 10 solid years until they track where, because the guy only makes call to once he makes call to a line, they destroy.
Yes.
That's whatever. But they're able to put this call to this guy looks like this and all of that. And until they were able, look at the enormous job done to track the guy. Because shouting and making noise doesn't move the needle.
That's
but
right.
it is what you do behind the scene that you now say, okay, you know what? If that threat had been, and they now pick somebody and say, look at this guy that we picked, always send terrorist messages to Nigerians, but we picked him. That that's a better way to go. Rather, hey, they are threatening you, and come on, let's really get very serious. That is why you see Israel, they will teach. I mean, they train all of their citizens to be military. So each person is already, he is mindful of where he goes, what he says. Even physically, they will take on an average person. So that's that. So for me, I want to see a country where we take security very seriously. You don't allow, and but generally, I want to say that yes, the threat may be a fake. It could be correct, but treat every security threat as seriously, but don't loud it, don't make noise on the media. Don't even go to the media at all. But go to the media with the successes recorded.
Exactly.
I love what Ribadu said one time when he said, go check out of 75 terrorist kingpin, we've neutralized over 70. I was like, what? That's a huge thing I want to hear, but I don't want to hear that terrorist is calling us, that one is not, because that creates fear, but that creates boldness. That, you know what, go check them, all the terrorist kingpin, 75 of them that we tagged, we brought down 70 of them, and we are on the trail of the few other ones. That is the news that should go to the media, that should actually encourage Nigerians to know that we're getting safer. But again, if you are talking about National Assembly being whatever, it's a place for everybody. What about if the headquarters, police headquarters, Louis Edet was hit some years back? So for me, I also see the cup half full. The subsequent government have been able to manage the security threat to a certain region of the country, and they are doing a good job of it. Recently, the president strengthened the security architecture by changing the service chiefs, and bringing them, briefing them, and all of that. When we heard about, in fact, people should even learn. Look at how the president does anything. They said there was the rumor of coup. He wasn't shouting anything, he wasn't talking about it. He just looked behind and checked some of his pointers here and there. And he feels that, look, I think it's time for these other guys to go. Look, that coup possibly, even the chief of defense staff, Musa, may not have known anything about it. But the point is that you are the head of the security architecture, security officers, as at the time when there was a rumor, something is wrong somewhere. I think you're tired. You need to go. You understand? So because some people were wondering, how can they say there is with the scare of coup, and then you retire people? You are not putting them in jail. He's not saying that the chief of defense staff is the one who has organized that. Maybe his boys. So he's just saying maybe this guy is sleeping on his duty, and then some young boys want to actually take undue advantage. And they also know that if he succeeds, they will call him to come and head the government, because he's the highest in hierarchy that heads the government. So they're just saying, look, maybe even some people want to do it and then pull you in later and all of that. So, but the point I'm trying to say is that people should learn from how Tinubu takes things. He hear anything, he talk less, but he's dealing with things that he think he can deal with. The one he cannot deal with, he pushes it till when he will have capacity to deal with it. But I don't want, especially National Assembly, no senators, no House of Rep person should talk flippantly or too whatever recklessly. No, anything you say, you strengthen the enemy.
Of course, because
why you now create fear in Nigeria? You don't want to do that.
That's
you just call the security apparatus and say, hey guys, look at this, please trace this number, check this out, blah blah blah. Work perfectly on it. When you pick such person, then you now say, announce the victory.
Exactly.
Don't announce the
tactic.
No,
the tactic, because that's actually has been Nigerian thing. Yeah. We keep seeing security operators announcing their tactic or saying they're visiting places like this. Of course, these people are watching, and so they get ready for you. All right, so we'll quickly take a break. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back from that break. We do apologize. All right, we're being joined by another guest. I'm supposed to have two gentlemen in the studio, and yes, the second one just joined us. So I'll quickly introduce him. So in the studio with us, joining us, is Ambassador Dr. Duke Alamboye. He is the CEO, Green Assembly Initiative National Leader, and Nigeria Youth Organization. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to continue on the trajectory we were on before we went on that break. All right, so we were still on discussing insecurity in Nigeria. We are actually looking at Ambassador Moses Kolawole Obisesan has actually spoken on the threat by terrorists received from the committee chairman, the National Assembly Committee chairman. Do you have something you'd like to add to that?
Okay, I have my concern, and that is when I also heard the news of planned terrorists attacking the National Assembly. First of all, politicians, one of the politicians, I don't want to mention his name, used to say that if we don't secure the people, we will be at the aim of insecurity. That is Right Honorable Rotimi Amaechi, the former Minister of Transportation. He used to say that if politicians, leaders do not secure the people, time is coming that they will begin to also face the same problem. And that is what I think is coming up. There are so many controversies around it. First of all, where is the letter? We also saw the publications. We didn't see the evidence of such transmission. How was it transmitted to the National Assembly? Were they written to? Was there a phone call? Because this is a national issue. For people to say that there's an attempt to attack the National Assembly is huge. It's of national interest. So is this news coming from the security agencies? Is the DSS bringing out this news? Is it at what form was it communicated to? It's not just to come and say that there's a planned attack on it. But in as much as we're also looking at the legitimacy of that report or that information, it should not also be taken for granted. You recall during the Jonathan era when there was rumor that they want to bomb, terrorists want to enter Abuja, and it was not taken seriously. But in few days or so, we saw the attack around the Banex axis and all of that. So I think to me is an information in the side of security architecture. But again, we must not. They attached it to protest at the front of a protest being held around it. You can't necessarily see. This government should understand one thing: you can't stop people from protesting. It is the fundamental right of people, citizens, to protest. But however, also the obligation of security agents to make sure that protests are guided within the ambits of the law. So you can't stop people from coming to where we have our representation. We have the House of Rep members there. We have the senators there. That streamlines our laws to suit our daily habitation as a nation. So you can't stop people from coming to carry placards there, show their grievances on unfavorable policies and all of that. So I think to me, on that aspect, that's my take. We must be sensitive on how we put up such information. If I were at the National Assembly, this information should not even be at the domain of the public. Correct. It should go straight to the security agencies where serious investigations will be carried out. Before I joined you, I also heard my colleague here talking about the service chiefs and maybe perhaps possible reasons why they were removed from office. I've gotten the opportunity to work with the CDS over 3 years now, and I think I'm very, very conversant with the happenings there. I think the military has a way it works. They have their set rules, and that when you are having when you become the head of service, any of the services, you just have 2 years to run. Okay. So, and that gives room for other generals to come in. That gives room for promotion. That gives room for filtering of the system. So generals go out, another set of generals take over like that. So now politically it has also been hindered. Why I say so is because, for instance, you're taking from a particular cause 1, and you're removing somebody from cause 1 for no just cause. Perhaps he has served his 2 tenure as a head of whatever, an army or any of the arms, and he's going. We've observed that politicians do not take the ranks. They go back to somebody that is favorable politically in a more junior
in line,
in line. So that fizzles out the whole of a particular cause. Normally, if a cause 1 person is the CDS, his cause mates can be the head of the other listen, or the second cause. The implication here is that they can take directives from him. His cause members can work with him in the DHQ. That their colleagues heading directorates. While the second cause 2 will be heading will become service chiefs. So if at 2 years those 2 sets are going, the onus now of leadership now falls on the third cause. But recently we've also seen politicians distorting the process flow, where you see Obasanjo did it. Yaradwa's tenure was even the worst, where he left for 6 good years. So for 6 good years, would have turned out
Like
three, like about three sets would have gone. So even in the military, there is delay of promotions and elevations. People have served the country, and at a projected time before they retire from service, they have also envisaged that they would have been service chiefs, or their cause would have ended the country. So these are the issues around the removal. These present service chiefs, their removal or their tenure has elapsed since June.
Okay.
So what happened is something that they expected. So in fact, people felt that the president wants to return it the way he has returned the what they call the IG of police.
Okay.
So those speculations were on until it happened. So it is not tied to the speculated coup.
Okay.
To say it's an administrative occurrence that naturally should happen. However, it's sudden because we begin to see a unified military set. This time around, we saw the CDS working in tandem, working very tight and closely in unity with all the service chiefs. So if you see, there are pockets of progress reports from here and there, which would have propelled us into a better and more open way or tactics of fighting insecurity. This CDS brought in non-kinetics to the old majors. No, we shouldn't be fighting. This CDS is bringing up innovation and all of that to the whole process, trying to change the ways they've been approaching the issues of insecurity. However, nation should take its course, and I think it's time for them to leave and left.
Thank you very much. All right, we do not have much time, but I'd like us to discuss one more thing on security before we move to economy, and that would be, of course, the warning by the NSA concerning saying that the violence will be met with strong, uncompromising response. That's with regards to the Anambra election, which is coming up, I think, next week, Saturday, which is November 8th. Now, they're saying that about 45,000 police officers will be deployed, and of course there was also an extension of collection of PVC by Amopitan. Nowadays all eyes is on Amopitan. So I think this election will be like a litmus test for him, even though I believe that the previous chairman must have done mostly everything, put everything in place, but still all eyes will be on him, on whether the Beavers works, whether they'll be vote buying, you know. So if you were to talk to him, or if you were to expect something for him, what would you say?
Basically, I would tell Amopitan, give us excellent delivery.
Okay.
You're young, you're new. In respect, I'm not those who flow with the fact that whether the previous man has done everything. No. 99 done is still nothing done. It is the 100% that delivers. 99% will not bring this light on. It won't be on until the 100%, your final electrical person puts in the wire, boom, the light comes on. That's what Wike is doing with a lot of projects. He didn't start a lot of the project, but he came in 9 months and he just connected several of them, and all of us are happy about it. So we will give it to Amopitan. We will give the kudos to Amopitan, and we will give him the blame if he messes up.
Exactly.
It's actually a litmus test. I want him to deliver stellar election. I want him to give us almost a perfect election, because it's just one. It's an off-cycle election. It's just one. Yes. So if you cannot manage one, how can you manage the whole country? And you're just coming in, all eyes on you and all of that. Don't mess up your name, because politicians come with a huge level of pressure.
They do.
They want to compromise you. They want to, and if money is what you're looking for, you will get it from politicians. But if it is legacy that you want to raise your head up after the election, then you need to stand up and tell them, you know what, I am not going to bend the rules. I will ensure the Beavers work. I will ensure security architecture is properly because let me tell you something, Nigerians will excel whenever we're being deployed out of this country. We can do same. We can excel big time in this country. So for me, no excuse for Amopitan. It's the litmus test. Go there and then go actually show that the president never made a mistake. So anybody who's looking for how to buy vote and all of that, you better think again. It's just I love what JAMB is doing. JAMB is saying, if you did not read, we will catch up with you. your parents and whatever cannot buy papers for you and all, it will not work here. They can take you out of the country to go and school elsewhere. But if it is here, we are going to check and we will ensure that it is what what you score that will really be ascribed to you. And they are putting a whole lot of strategies, a lot of tactics, and a lot of gadgets to be able to ensure that is done. So the same thing, I want to see an Amupiton that will really change. That will change the tiles. Everybody will look at. Don't only do an election that is free and fair. Let Nigerians say that this is the best election we've ever had.
And that their vote counted.
Yeah, let people feel that our vote counted. So whoever wins doesn't matter to me. Let them go have their headache. But you, I mean, have a way of shining. That's what I'll tell him. Yeah.
Okay. I have a little bit contradictory expression on this. The new INEC boss may not be able to do as much as we expect. Yeah, as Nigerians, we always want, when a new person comes on board, the result to come up as soon as possible. If they preempted him of this appointment 2 years, 1 year, that in 1 year you become INEC boss, then I know that he would have mapped out strategy, would have understudied INEC, he would have made and observe areas of changes. Now we run a system where the next night you wake up and see your name as appointed elsewhere and all of that. So that kind of a man coming into that system, there is a lot. We all know. I don't agree with the NSA on his assertions. The NSA is just being political. These things will happen. There are people that will deploy. There are people that will give security to those people that want to rig the election. There are people that will give security to INEC. There are people that will give security to their favorites in the whole election. So we can't sit down in Abuja and expect the new INEC chairman to perform magic in another election. An election where everything is set. He's just carrying out the prophecy. Let me put it that way. It's as a prophesy that there will be election in Andhra on the 9th of November. So he must fulfill the prophecy. But the processes, everything has been done. Do you understand? Sometimes people will say it's even one on arrival, but I want to also agree with you that there are certain things he can do differently, like taking charge of the beavers, making sure that they all work. Is early arrival of what they call electoral materials. These things are between his ambits, his control, so he can influence these things. But talking about vote buying, talking about vote apathy, talking about other external factors that will produce a credible election, I think he is far from it. Until he comes back, the politicians, the legislation need to help him revamp INEC, making sure that the policies. Let me give you a clear example. There's a law, I can't quote it for now. There's a law that says that you shouldn't spend XYZ amount, maybe $1 billion. We're all seeing Soludo bagging monies and announcing it. Then there's another aspect of it again. The law is not after him. There's another aspect of it again that talks about contributions. Yeah, you must not take certain amount of money from a group of person. But we also seen Soludo, the Cuban governor, even announcing. So are you going to blame? Are you going even publicly saying that there is a reward for people that these are things that you do in the closet, your membership space that you do? You don't do that. It becomes an offense. It becomes an arbitration to the smooth running of the election. Knowing that he is even an incumbent governor, what happens to the other governors that do not have such measures of finance? So these are the irregularities politicians even bring into the system. So we're talking about INEC performance. We're talking about the present INEC chairman performance. We mustn't just oppose it with our attitudinal process and the law that is bringing to bear. We want good things to happen. Don't forget, he is not going to field to say he's going to vote. He is only sending mercenaries. Now, let us also check at the internal revamping of the system. We see returning officers booth on our national television. They come with the whole result from a particular state and mess up with it, and their professors. So there is a lot of reforms that should happen before we will talk about it very well. So for me, Anaba is not if not that I know you, I will think that I will be tossing to you. You know what? Tell people that
We
have seen very credible people come on board, and their hands are twisted because of so many things that happen. See, before I became a national leader, I was secretary of the council.
Okay.
So when people even tell me that, Duke, if you become president of youth council, you do X, Y, Z, I draw them is I say, don't say this one, because I was secretary and I know the issues in the organization. So there are certain things you tell me, I tell them, no, don't use this as a campaign. So it will not work. It took us 6 months to pursue even change of account, to open an account, because all our board of trustees, they are elderly, you can't even find them. So it takes you to financial improprieties or embezzlement. People begin to call it, and that is true, because you cannot receive money on behalf of the organization in your personal account. But it happened. It is happening. So to me, I won't be able to fix that until I leave office. So there are a lot of things associated with leadership. We must be very patient with him, because all hands must be on deck. If this government decide to put right the proceedings that provides INEC and all the processes that provides us good governance, the MSA will not be saying this, deploying over 45,000 for just one election. So they have the responsibility, they have a duty to help the new INEC chairman succeed.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move away from security and talk economy now. While Edwin has said that benefits of reforms is gradually reaching the poor, that's of course the policies of the president that is gradually reaching the poor. I don't know if you're watching me right now, if you're beginning to reap the benefits of the present administration policy, because from my end, I am not.
We're talking about.
Oh my God!
You see.
Okay. Now let's. Okay.
Just a quick. I heard when he was talking about the dividends of democracy. This government had played a very vital role. See, when there is a break, there is a crack, and the crack is huge. Is big, you may not feel the patches until they are completely closed up. That is what is happening to Nigeria. The president made a very terrible situation. This present government, but because of party line, because of personal, I don't want to put it that way, they brought the Buhari government, the present government and all of it. They brought the Buhari government. So the president we have today is politically matured, such that he doesn't want to attribute whatever that is happening now to the former. Rather, he's projecting I stayed in Lagos. I was in school in Lagos when I saw Tinubu transform Lagos, and we were all crying. A journey of 30 minutes will take you 2 hours. But today, go to that same Lagos again. You'll be marvel. So he is using very scarce resources to pursue very huge problems. Now, is in their thinking, this government they're pushing more to the state government. Which to me, I don't know. I'm not. Maybe when it comes to autonomy, and I understood on it. To me, I felt that people are beginning to own up responsibilities instead of giving such huge amount to the governors, whom you cannot control the way they spend their allocations. Why not use that for a nationalistic project? Let us say that Tinubu and his government should say that strategically we have come to fight 1-2 and fight it off Nigeria's neck. That is when you say Tinubu came. When Tinubu came, he didn't do anything about more infrastructure. You cannot take away something from Wike. You can go and say it doesn't care about the schools. You can go and say it doesn't care about the welfare of staff in the FCT or doctors, but you cannot say that when it comes to infrastructure. Connecting the cities. And you know what connecting the city means? It means that it's expanding development for the next generation to come. So it's very key to developmental strides. So this the national government should think of, or maybe put a mandate or a caveat to this money they're sending so much to the state governors. However, there's also an argument that those monies that we're also seeing, the value of those monies are not the same as we think. If somebody you give 3 trillion today is almost not spending as good as somebody that earned 100 billion yesterday. 100 billion was at its value. 3 trillion today. So not we cannot even measure it to the then. So all these things are at the but again, Nigerians, some of Nigerians are still living in the past. This government is very strategic and trying to see how the poor, not you, I won't say the poor, the people, the people in the village, how they can survive.
Yeah,
a lot is going on. People are not doing researches. I was in Innovate Africa in ECOWAS last week, and somebody stood up and said that he is not being funded. He has a project, he's not being funded. But when I sat with him closely, I discovered that he does not even have information. He's still thinking that he has an invention or he has a program that he can just stay somewhere, shout, and then government will call him. Go to the websites. Go to Ministry of Ministry of Humanitarian Resources. Go to the Ministry of Youth. Their website. Search. You will see a lot of things going on, and people are reaping. So you don't use your phone. Thank God we have the gadgets. So you don't just sit down and say you're invested. And if your problem is finance, there are banks, two solid banks. The Development Bank is doing well. The Bank of Industry is doing well. The Bank of BOI.
Bank of
and the Bank of Agriculture. Bank of Agriculture. They are doing very well. But this time around, although is strict because those tricks we use in taking government funds is no more there. You must meet up the criteria. And when people don't meet up those criteria, they come back and say that government are not helping this issue.
Now, while I get your point, the fact still remains that a lot of Nigerians have been toppled into multidimensional poverty. Now, we are having the federal government saying that they're expanding cash transfer beyond 15 million households. Personally, I'm yet to see one person that said he benefited or he or she benefited from the cash transfer that was made.
Significant.
Because it's not yielding result. Now, in addition to that, also we're also having Sanusi telling the federal government why are they still borrowing since the subsidy has been removed, and we've heard how they said that that they're saving quite a lot of money from subsidy, and because of that, like you mentioned, some state allocation has been increased, or we're not seeing any difference at the end of the day. But so it boils down to significant impact, how it will affect the very least of Nigerians, because if that is not met, then nothing you say the government is doing is working, because they're not seeing the impact directly.
So basically, the first thing that we must acknowledge is that first, it is a good thing to have the conditional transfer. It's not bad for the poorest of the poor. And also the level of engagement in that direction is not enough. That's the truth. Looking at the number of persons who are poor, if we must go by the statistics, about 130 something 150 million Nigerians are poor. So if you're saying that you're giving to the poor, I think you need to expand that scope. So that, as Wale Edu said, you want to expand it. That's a good one to do. Also, I need to take on what Sanusi and that's Emir Sanusi and Peter Said said. There's a huge wastage in this government. I'm not saying that it started with this government, but I'm saying that, Mr. President, you have not done enough in being able to curb wastages. That's the truth, because I can tell you for free that even some of the contract sum is huge. If it's going to take, for instance, recently they talked about how much they renovated the International Conference Center, currently called, what's it called? Tinubu International Conference Center. The amount is mind-boggling. 39 billion to renovate that place is really high. Now I understand. You see, the whole of this thing, I'm able to understand, because I see where we are coming from, and that's why I say we have to look. This INEC man has a lot of work. You know why? If it costs too much to become the president, there is no way you will not take so much to pay back.
Obviously.
Because let me tell you, if you don't spend $1 trillion, you can't become Nigerian president as of today. It's not possible. Because of what you have to do. You have to pay for agent, you have to pay for chairman, you have to bankroll a lot of stuff. To become the governor, you must spend several billions. So if you don't have it, it's not enough for you to be good. So sometimes I look at it, I say, look, the beginning must be that we must get it right, our electoral process. Our leadership recruitment process must be streamlined such that it's not bogus. Currently it's so bogus that president must look the other way. This governor has spent so much to become the governor. I have to give him certain money. You know, my colleague was saying, why do you take money and give it to the state governors where you cannot control? Economically it may not be right, but politically it's right.
It is. Because
he knows that those are the grand commanders for the next election. If he does not breathe into empower them now, they will tell you that they don't have capacity to be able to actually recruit. Because to recruit Nigerians, you have to give them money, you have to do all. Our electoral system is just is too cumbersome. And nobody will emerge from such, and then you expect him to be a saint or to be, when Peter Obi said we don't give shishi, people say you cannot become the president if you don't give shishi. Now they like you to become president, but the process of becoming president, say, first of all, give us the shishi first. When you now get there, you may now say, okay, now I'm here, I will not give any extra shishi. That's okay. But before you become the you have to share the rice, share the oil and all of that. This is the right thing. We must get our lead. We are extremely leadership deficit. We have leadership deficit in this country. It's not funny. As the president, with the ministers that we take, the governors, the House of Rep member, the senators, all of these people, they spend too much to come to office. Some of them go to borrow. Recently, a senator that died, I'm not going to mention his name, that died, someone came out and said he's owing me 5 billion naira. I said, what? This is a senator that I thought that, wow, big boy, you understand, saying going really looking large. He was in one political party, and when they didn't allow him, he ported to another political party. Then he won the senatorial, whatever. He came back, he sorted out those those people and all that, and then he came back to position to become the next governor. But it's only 5 billion. You don't understand that 5 billion will be paid back. The person who borrowed him also know that okay, he's moving. Soon he will get to the pot of soup. Then he will give me back my whatever and all that. And I said, wow, these guys carry so much, on their head and in their back before they get there. There is no way that they will not dip their hands into the world. So Amopiton has a very strategic role. How do we reduce what it takes? I love what you talked about, the amount you should not spend, the kind of funding that it should be and all that. But until we actually make our electoral process really, really slim, then so those who emerge, then they will also not have the huge burden on them. Then we can hold them accountable.
Exactly.
That's what this should be. And then that's the first one. Secondly, I want to tell all of the people of integrity, like Wole Soyinka of this world, Femi Falana, any of these people who feel that integrity should be, please find your way into National Assembly, go and become senators. You know why? That is the strongest place to hold the executive accountable. You don't sit in your room and then you say, this one is not doing it well. You'll just be laughing. Because they'll just say you don't understand what it has cost us. But when you're there, then you can actually bring rules and laws that actually has direct impact on what Nigerians are facing. Well, like let's spend the money. Somebody made a joke. He said, whatever money cannot do, more money will do it. That is it. That's a crazy statement. So he's telling you that, look, if I give you this money and you will not be bought over, I'll give you more money and you will be bought over. That's his own policy. And that if that is what is in our national space, then we have issues. So basically, I'm saying that let's tackle it from the root. Let many more clean persons find their way into, because that National Assembly is the only way to restrain the president. No other place will restrain them. They are the one that will make the budget. They are the one that will oversight it. So but here now we can just shout, the 15 trillion is you are shouting. Where have you dropped it? I don't believe in talks that does not. You don't only learn how to back, but be able to bite. And I want to see all of our clean, integrity people. I want to see you in the Senate, so that you can really clean up the system, because that is actually where you can shape what the governors, the president, and all that. You saw what happened when Ribadu was the EFCC, whatever. Went there after several persons, gave them the fight of their life. We need our institution to be beefed up, to be strengthened, so that we can. That's the only way to curb the excesses of the politician. If you leave it open like this, we are just joking.
Let's see if we could take one or two calls. If you're watching right now, you could join us by calling our studio numbers to also be a part of the conversation we're having. Do well to call, and when you do call, please turn down the volume of your TV set, or better still, walk away from it so you can hear us out properly. All right, so I'll just be taking one or two calls because of time. I've had my guests talk extensively on the topics we did, some of the big headlines we took today. So while we await those calls, let's talk about these I don't know what to call it, but these massive defection from different political parties. What does it portend? What does it mean for democracy, for party? Because it's becoming appalling to see people who are supposed to stand in their party lines and be strong oppositions defecting. It's as if we're trying to create some sort of one-party system, and I feel is going to sort of cripple what democracy stands for, and is not good for us. So
that is a very sensitive issue to discuss. I think the politicians are not in politics to fail. That's number one. Number two, politicians are in politics for, first of all, self-aggrandizement before they think of other things. So because of that placement, we are seeing what is happening today. Let me mention but a few: the PDP, NNP, Congress Party, and then of course, let me say, NNPP. I want to put the other one, the last, the new bride, what they call them, ADC. These are very old contents, but a new bottles. Now they have put APC like this. We are not having very strong national contention again. If any leader in PDP, NNPP, and what they call ADC wants to talk about national interest, they attack the person of the president. Listen carefully, and that is giving room to them seeing the political fight as a personalized issue. People are no more tackling, politicians are no more, these parties are no more tackling policies. Before any election, we have what they call manifesto. These are things that outlines what. So the manifestos in the political party that have lost power, the manifesto of the ruling party in the hands of the opposition party that lost power should be a criticizing instrument.
Obviously.
Not personalizing issues. This is one fundamental problem. The APC, the PDP, the ADC, SDP, they are supposed to be in the fighters. They are supposed to be the people rebelling against policies that are not pro-Nigerians.
Yeah.
Not an attack on Tinubu or a perceived governor that is not a DPC. This is one of the biggest problems. We are not seeing them attacking that again. Let me bring the policy of subsidy removal. When Jonathan tried it, the opposition AC, led by this same Tinubu, they came out constructively. We saw people carry placard. We saw people. There was that revolution against a movement against that policy, whether it was right or it was wrong. Yeah. We saw that strength, that opposition strength, and they moved on. Secondly, political fights, individual succession. Governors are looking at it. In my party, there are issues. These issues, legally, are we going to survive? It's not as if they love the APC they are going to. It's for self-aggrandizement.
Obviously, that's what it is. All right, let me also have you say something before we wrap up. We're actually totally out of time.
Okay, basically, I call it a total bring down of the house to rebuild a beautiful one.
Okay.
I tell you, because like you said, it is new wine in old skin, or old wine in
wine
skin,
yeah.
in whatever.
Oh,
now, but because people are afraid that we want to go into one party state. No, we're not going to go into one party state, because the party itself will now come to be in the individuals. Let me tell you, the road is not clear. Even if we have 36 state governors in APC,
yes.
the road is not clear. The people to vote, if Amupiton ensures that there is credibility, that election will count, it will not matter. Even the governorless party might become even sweeter. So you understand? Because what you're looking at is that, okay, a Labour Party has so person for the House of Representatives. I love that. I want to do it. ADC has unknown guy. I saw one of my friends ADC for Kogi State, and I said, okay, that's Olayinka. I said, fantastic guy who has done incredible in the real estate world in Abuja. And I said, wow, if he's going to be, because I know him.
Yes.
I know that if this guy, if the people can know him and make him the governor, he would. Well, don't let me say he has capacity to deliver, because I've seen what he has delivered in the real estate in the private sector. So the issue will now be between the masses and APC, and that is even more dangerous, because once people now just feel like we are going to do sympathy vote, all these parties that are, because they call them, they don't have structureless, but people will just mass on it. So the APC there is no rule yet. They should not think because we now have 30 governors, only 6 are shared by the others. That is not the winning thing. The next thing will now be the heart of Nigerians. Are the masses feeling like, okay, we have hope in these leaders? Yes, do we feel that it's as if Tinubu is going somewhere, or it's as if he feels our pain and all of that, because the aces are in the hands of the masses.
I'm not predicting our last election, but I think I'm not seeing any presidential candidates getting ready for Tinubu
at all. For now, maybe later
we still have time, so anything could happen when it comes to politics. All right, thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation we're having on The Press today, and I've had 2 gentlemen in the studio who quite did some good analysis of some of the stories we took here. So I want to say a very big thank you to Ambassador Moses Kolawole Ebusheson. He is CEO of Stratec Properties Limited, a public analyst, and of course a life coach. Thank you so much for availing yourself today. And as well, I also want to thank Ambassador Dr. Duke Alamboye, CEO, Green Assembly Initiative, National Leader, Nigeria Youth Organization. Thank you also for availing us the time to join us. To you that listen, I hope you're able to pick 1 or 2 things together on the show. As I always like to say, let's put our hands together to make our dear country, Nigeria, better. God bless Nigeria. I am Princess Ekeze Okoli. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.